Alrighty, what's going on, guys? This is Corey, and welcome to episode number 4 of the Moving Chicane podcast. This is the season 2 preview. I'm joined with my normal host, co-host, whatever you want to call him, Zach Johnson. We're
Yep.
joined by the brand new The Show driver liaison, Cody Leach, driving the number 15 for B2F Motorsports.
Big TB2F Motorsports.
And then I'm also joined by Zach Saunders, number 16 for uh, Back to Blue Motorsports in the charter full time this season. And last but not least, I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Nick Vasquez, returning to the Cup Series after a couple month hiatus. We're happy to have you back.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be back.
So we have a lot to cover this evening. Obviously, we'll recap season 1, talk about the champions there. Then we'll kind of talk about how Nick decided to come back into the Cup Series and how that kind of sparked the major changes in the Cup Series that happened just this past weekend, um, and how that ties in. We'll do a little season 2 preview, and then we'll finish it off with a little Pocono today. That's kind of your lay of the land for the events this evening. We'll start it off talking about the season 1 champions. So the season 1 champions in the Cup Series, we had Evan Clapper. He went back to back, reigning, defending, undisputed, the Show Cup Series champion of the world. In the Xfinity Series, we had the number 26 Caleb Sheets. And in the Truck Series, we had number 88 Connor Wold, top tier driver, taking out the Truck Championship here. And those are all three series that actually managed to find their conclusions. Past that, everything else has kind of been turned around, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. But yeah, let's start off with Nick. Nick, what made you want to come back to the show and the Show Cup series in specific, and yeah, just start off there.
Right. Well, I mean, I've been with you guys since like last September, so I've really seen this league grow, and I really honestly feel like I was a part of that expansion. So, I mean, I've got close friendships with a lot of you guys, and so what really made me leave in the first place, honestly, was just I don't know what it was last season, but I was just really bad. I mean, I was always getting caught up in something and having beef with everybody, and it was just like for me, and it, I don't know how to word this, but it was just I was in a really bad mental state to be racing, and it was just getting really toxic, and it was kind of spilling over into my real life as well. Just kind of trying to balance those two things. So that was kind of just I needed to get away from that, so I left midway through the round of 8 during the playoffs. I just kind of was like, I'm done with this. I got to get out of here. I wasn't in the right mental state to keep racing, and I was just bunch of beef and everything, as I said. But yeah. I mean, after taking that break and kind of seeing what else the community has to offer as far as what other iRacing leagues are, there's really none that compared to this one. The people here are a lot better. I mean, the racing quality is a lot better here. So I just really missed it after a while, and then Zach kind of got me. We started talking about it and kind of got me into it
Oh,
to
I,
coming
I
back.
I was pushing you the entire time since you left to come back, but you know.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I feel like I've matured a lot as a driver. Taking that time off, it's really kind of helped me to, you know, just take some time off and to cool down and to kind of just look back at what last season was like and to just kind of see what I need to improve and what I need to change. So this season I'm coming in with a lot different mindset and a lot different, I guess, attitude. So I'm really hoping that that's gonna pay off for me.
Absolutely. I mean, we all know emotions run very high in the sport of NASCAR, and that carries a lot over to sim racing as well. I mean, you know, especially after the no fast repair rules implemented, like it was right in the middle of the playoffs. The stakes went higher, and people were getting crashed, and it was actually ruining their races. Um, I will say that the racing has actually gotten way better since you've left, and it wasn't because of you. It was just because of everyone getting used to that no fast repair rule, and and understanding that if they make a stupid mistake, it's going to cost themselves and multiple people probably their race, right? Um, Cody learned that the hard way in the first and only Gen 4 race last Tuesday. Um, so yeah,
Such a shame.
yeah, it's a good thing Jared's not here because he'd be ripping into you already.
Oh yeah.
Shouldn't have left
But
a gap.
yeah, yeah, but honestly, we're happy to have you back. We're happy. DU Motorsports has always been a big part of the show ever since basically season 0,
Since
and
what's his name left? Yeah,
yeah, and
Zloff or whatever it was.
Wedzloff, yeah. And honestly, now Zach kept it alive for you. He held the name for you, and he obviously has now passed it along um, with the inception of Back to Blue Racing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and Mankey will be joining you in the Cup Series. What brought you to bring Mankey in for the Cup Series?
So for the few Xfinity races that I was in the booth and broadcasted, he was just kind of stuck out to me as a potential driver that showed a lot of skill. He was always very consistent and always running up front. So I got to talking with him in the DMs, and we have a lot of common interests. We both live in the same state. We both like Ford and all this and stuff. So we got to talking, and we just kind of clicked and bonded. So I felt like he would be a good addition to the team, um, just because we have the same personality almost. So that's really gonna help a lot this year. And yeah, so I just saw him in Xfinity, and he was really good. So I felt like this could turn DU Motorsports around, since last year, at least for the Cup Series, we didn't have a very good season.
Yeah, and I mean
I
that's
mean,
gonna happen from time to time as well.
it's not that we had a bad season. It's
Yeah,
just
we didn't
we
have a
didn't
bad
win.
season. Yeah,
We
we
were
didn't get any
consistent.
wins.
I mean,
Uh,
we were all top 10 in points, but we just didn't win.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously the landscape of Cup is changed tremendously. We'll obviously have 30 chartered entries starting on Wednesday. Um, do you think that's going to work into your favor? Do you think it's going to be more dangerous? Does it kind of change how you're going to approach these races? I mean, and anybody can answer this question. I mean, all five of us are Cup Series drivers. We all obviously have different thoughts on how races should be run, but the races are going to be longer. There's only going to be one chance to grab stage points. Tire management's going to be super important. Obviously, not on Wednesday at Daytona, but in every other race moving forward. Like, what are your guys' thoughts going into this Cup Series right now? Um, and how do you think you're going to approach these races?
I I think it'll be the guys who are patient and wait around will prevail. We didn't really get, we were just on the cusp last season of race distance, where a long run or like a medium run and then a long run. We were right in the medium run range where the guys who say their stuff start to come alive, and then boom, stage. So I think you'll see the guys like, I think Xander will be as good as he was last season because he's really good at saving his stuff, and Jared will be good. A couple other guys, Nick should be good. Nick's pretty good at saving his stuff and whatnot, and I could list a bunch of guys, but I think you see the people who push too hard too soon will really struggle compared to last season.
I think it'll be team based, especially like your super speedways or just planning, like thinking about how B2F could run. Like, I mean, I don't want to give away secrets or what I'm thinking about, but like, have one person test the short, have another person test the, you know, longer pit cycle, somebody go in with the leader, things like that to see like where your team could get points. If it's, I mean, I know it's a personal game, but at the end of the day, there's still a team. There's still a team championship. So depending on how everybody's looking at it, having more up front is always the better. Having at least somebody up there is going to be better situation for your team.
Saunders, you want to give your input on this?
Uh, I'm kind of on the same point with you, Zach. It's just the guys who can really save the equipment for, especially like the second stage or the final stage. If we don't get any oddball cautions, they're gonna, I think, walk away from the rest of the guys who push too early. and in the beginning, but I've seen people push extremely hard in the beginning and save a little bit in the middle of the run and still be just as fast as guys that started saving since the start. So
Yeah.
it'll just really depend on the driver.
Yeah.
And this is specifically for Cody and Zach Saunders. You guys are both very new to the Cup Series. Cody's only ran, I think, 3 Cup Series races, 2 or 3.
Something like that.
Yeah, I want
Um,
to say 3. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, right
and
around.
Saunders is completely new. He hasn't run the Cup Series at all. And I know Saunders, you said you don't like the next gen that much. Um, but do you guys feel like you're gonna come in and be competitive right away? You guys gonna kind of take a second to learn how everybody's driving, and especially like since it's a whole new like system with the charters and everything, there's gonna be a lot of different people out there. A big mix. We've got a lot of rookies coming in this season, so there's gonna be a big battle for Rookie of the Year. How are you guys feeling going into all this?
You go ahead, Zach.
Um, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the next gens, but I can manage them pretty well. They're just kind of unbalanced a lot for me. Is is the word I'm gonna use. I mean, for me, it just depends on the track and stuff. It's just I'm not, when it comes to super speedways, I can't really qualify good or anything like that. But I can manage a good run towards the end and get up front where I need to be. But no, with all the rookies and stuff, it should be a blast getting, you know, seeing what everyone's going to be like. And as for figuring out where I'm going to be at, I'm probably just going to take my time, learn what everyone's driving, how they drive with each other. I just really sit back and learn.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead,
kind
Cody.
of with you. I'm kind of with them. I'll just say like a little bit kind of lucky to get like a few starts in last season. To kind of like gauge. Obviously, you never know what's gonna happen.
You're kind of
How
coming in
people are
like Ty
feeling that
Gibbs
day.
did. Ty
I
Gibbs had a
know.
lot of races under his belt.
You need a
Yeah,
Ty Gibbs.
yeah, and I'm lucky to be on like a team where I know how they run. We're connected with our manufacturers. We're connected to top tier. So I've kind of got a lot of people help like in the right positions to help, and then that I can do a little give and take. Like last night in the recruitment race, Connor and I were just basically running up top, um, and we kind of just stay with each other, like not battling, not giving up positions, just kind of running 1 and 2. And if like it's kind of go back to the team game. Like I know what tracks I'm good at, and I know what tracks I'm not good at. So wherever I can help, I'll help. And when I see an opportunity, then I'll take it. For myself. But I think it'll be being a rookie. I think I'll fare to try to get that rookie of the year by playing more of a team game.
Yeah, and we'll highlight all the different rookie drivers that are in the field specifically at Daytona when we get to that. We have the basically the full entry list. We're missing 3 entries right now, but 27 drivers are confirmed to be in the field on Wednesday so far. And then obviously there's that opportunity for 4 open cars.
Hmm.
Should anybody want to extra to qualify. Um, yeah, we'll highlight that, but let's transition a little bit now into what happened this weekend and why the Cup Series is actually running on Wednesdays now, and the Xfinity Series is running on Tuesdays. Um, so obviously this was it was a tumultuous weekend. Let's put it that way.
Horrible.
Um, it was at Saturday night at midnight we weren't gonna have a season, or at least the season was gonna be delayed a couple of weeks, and then at 2 a.m. Sunday morning slash Saturday night. We had a season and it's in the plans. And, we lost 2 admins, and obviously that's being filled now. I obviously announced just now Cody's going to be the driver liaison, and then Jared Bundy's going to be coming in. I think he's going to be, um, working on the admin side of, I think it was specifically like partnerships and sponsorships or something along those lines. He's going to be in charge of handling that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so it's really we're really excited to bring him in as well. We obviously lost Evan as an admin and as a driver, so our back-to-back champion of the Cup Series will no longer be with us this season. And we also lost Anthony Campbell, and his was strictly due to time constraints. He was really only available on Sunday nights, and no longer available with the nights that we run. So he stepped away as well, passed his team on to Xander. Um, and really, it comes down to it was and why the league was restructured. I mean, Evan leaving and deciding not to continue working with us, um, it it put us in a position where we didn't have enough staff to cover the 5 races a week that we were running. Um,
Yeah.
and I work full time. Jared works full time. Zach's in school.
Yeah.
Anthony obviously wasn't available, and he ended up
Yeah.
leaving. So like we have all these time constraints on everybody. Ryan works full time, so like everybody had time constraints. So Saturday night came around. We found out the news that Evan was going to be leaving the Evan team at about 8 or 9 o'clock on Saturday night, the night before the Cup Series started. And at that point, we decided, okay, we're gonna first of all we need to get the word out that the season is gonna be suspended, and we're gonna be reworking everything because that was key number one. There was no way we were gonna be putting out a race on Sunday. We were in no position. Like the stuff was set up for it, obviously, and we had all the qualifying sessions and all that ready, and like the races itself was ready to go. But the admin team was in no position to run a race on Sunday night and feel comfortable with progressing the season as it was moving forward. So with that being said, we decided to immediately postpone the season, and myself, Jared, um, Ryan, Stephen Mankey, Devin Peel was in there giving his input. Cody was in there giving his input. We immediately stepped back and we decided, okay, what are we going to do? We mulled over different decisions. We talked about changing the cars. We talked about changing to Gen 6, Gen 4, keeping Gen 7. We were talking about maybe making like an offshoot league for like a couple of months while we let things settle down. But we figured all of those would kill the league because everybody that joined recently, specifically from the DJ EJ video, and other mediums, they all joined because it was the progression system with the charter system. They want to be pulled up by the league or by the league, the cup owners to drive their cars and cup from Xfinity. So we were like, okay, we got to keep that as our core. And we figured, we can pretty much confidently. We sat down. I did the math. Jared was there to confirm with me. We could only do 2 nights a week confidently. So we sat down and we were, okay, we race on Sunday through Thursday right now. We obviously are trimming the trucks. We're obviously trimming the sports car, and now we're trimming Gen 4. So it
For
makes the
now.
most sense to move everything to the middle of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, to get off of the Sunday specifically, because we don't want to contest the Cup Series anymore. A lot of people were wanting to go to NASCAR races, including myself, and not wanting to miss the league, or not, I didn't want to put the league in other people's hands arbitrarily while I was gone on a race, so then we'd have to plan around it, and it was a pain. So we decided no more weekends for anything. We're going to keep it on Wednesday and Tuesday. So the Xfinity Series is now running on Tuesday. Cup Series is running on Wednesday. Um, there was a little shuffling around with charters. We lost, I think, one, two, three, 4 charters were refunded. Everybody else kept theirs.
Yeah. I mean, the driver's lost is probably double that
Drivers
with people.
lost is roughly around 6, if I do
Oh,
the
really?
math right. Yeah, we lost 2 extra drivers on top of. No, we lost about 8. Yeah, you're right. We lost about 8 drivers. 8 planned drivers that we're planning. But I mean, we had enough influx over the last couple of weeks to fill them immediately with Xfinity drivers. Um,
Love that.
we also made Tuesdays the Xfinity Series open to anybody, and it's gonna be a qualifier for the top 42 cars to qualify into the race. So if we get more than 42 cars tomorrow for qualifying, the top 42 will race. Everybody else will go home. Um, I don't see us hitting that number, but it
No,
would
I
be
don't
really
either.
cool if we got up near it. Um, so yeah, I mean, a lot changed, but it's still the same old show. Um, Cat Wheeler is coming in full time to broadcast. So really appreciate him. He's directing our
Yeah.
media and he's running everything having to do with the broadcast. I think Tyler Krozik is going to be joining him on Wednesday nights for the Cup Series broadcasts, and Tuesday I don't know if he has a partner, if he's going to be doing it alone. Um, but yeah, it's really exciting. Let's start off like previewing that. Obviously, I'm looking at the entry list here that we just have on our race regulator app, where people can accept or say if they're coming to the race. And right now we've got 23 people signed up to show up to the race, but I usually add about 8 to 10 extra people that don't actually go on there and click the accept button. But if you are listening and you are new and you do plan on racing with us, we always appreciate it if you do accept the race regulator there, so that way we know and we can kind of gauge who's all going to be showing up. And that's in the events tab on the Discord. So right now I've got 23 people, a lot of new names. I'm just going to go through some of the new names. Devin Peel joined in the off season. He ran some late models with us. Vinny Tigner, never heard of him. John Darnell joined in the off season as well. Barry Neal, he's new. Gavazzi, I've seen a little bit around. Stephen Douglas is also new. I've got Chase George, he's new. Mac joined in the off season or like right at the end of last season, so he's pretty new. Michael Deach, also new. Dallas Henderson, Adam Baker, Stephen Carlisle, Seth Klein, Aaron Rucker, William Lawson, and Joe Wright also joined at the end of last season. So a lot of new guys. I mean, once again want to say, welcome to you guys, and we're really excited to have you. These Xfinity races are going to be much longer than last season,
Yeah.
and there's going to be much longer runs. It runs the same style or the same format as the Cup Series races with Stage 1 and Stage 3 of Xfinity. How do you guys think that's going to play out? Do you think there's going to be more cautions? Do you think people are going to be more patient? What are you guys thinking on that?
It's hard to say. I would like to think it's gonna be spread out like how it was at the end of the season when we took the fast pair away, because the Xfinity racing was magnificent. But deep down, I know it'll, with all these new people trying to figure each other out. I think the first 5 or 6 races are just gonna be a lot of cautions, a lot of feeling each other out and whatnot, and then mid-season, I feel like it'll settle down, just kind of like it did in the Cup Series and whatnot. And I think people will find their groove and find out who give and who will take of what on the track. And I feel like it'll play itself out pretty well.
What about you, Saunders? You raced a lot in the Xfinity Series
Hold on,
last
I gotta.
season.
I'll be right back.
Okay, we'll move
Hey,
somewhere else. Cody, you raced a lot in the Xfinity Series last season. I think you raced closer to like 6 or 7 races there before we got pulled up to the Cup Series there. So, what are you thinking on this Xfinity Series?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, I want to kind of go back to like the whole restructure. I was like the number one proponent of watching this place burn to the ground, but like not burn to the ground, almost like there'd be like 6, 7 leagues packed to the brim. People are progressing up through like wheelings. But I think the cut down makes that possible because you've got packed, 2 packed series. And the Xfinity last year, I remember some races where there was 20, upwards of 20 plus people every race. And it just makes that competition a little bit better. Gives those guys like a feeling like they're in an actual race, like it gives that league feel instead of just having 12, 13 people out there running, you know what I mean? So having that option and like letting the guys know you get in, you start out in Xfinity and you grind your way to Cup. And now with open charters being such a big thing, that gives them even more thing to focus on. I mean, look forward to, instead of having all the charters be, locked up and not knowing when they'll free up. So
Yeah, and
it's pretty
obviously,
fun.
moving into like already thinking about next season before the season's even started, obviously. But the plan is to pack Xfinity out so much that next season we're ready to implement that truck series and then have 3 packed out series. I mean, it's really only going to grow from here, and obviously having a really solid broadcaster in Cat Wheeler running that is really going to be beneficial, and just sticking to our guns and not making crazy decisions, let's say, as I have in the past in terms of willy nilly adding seasons. I've already said and I've already promised everyone that we aren't going to be adding any seasons until next season, so at the conclusion of this coming season. So we'll be riding it out
That'll be
as
awesome.
is, keeping everybody in 2 places to kind of race, because I feel like, once we did add 3, 4 even the fifth series, it really spread the league thin a little bit. Um, and it made it so that not as many people were showing up to the Xfinity races anymore because trucks were an option, or it could run, the sports car league and be
Exactly.
fine. Like so, having those those two series and really packing them out is really going to be good for the future of this league.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a lot of days of races, but not packed days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot of 13, 14 car runs, 10, 11 car runs. I mean, if the recruitment race last night is anything
Oh my
about
God.
how the racing is going to be tomorrow night, it's going to be absolutely insane. So I expect around 36 cars is my number. That's my prediction tomorrow. I think we'll be right
Mm,
around 36. We'll
I,
be at least at 30 for the
I think we'll
Wednesday.
be.
Yeah.
So
I think for Xfinity will be 32 to 28 to 32. I don't
28
think
to 30.
as many people who said they're going to show up are going to show up.
Yeah, anywhere between 28 and 36, I think, is a fair guesstimation. Um, Obviously, the 42 rule is in there in case anything happens, but um, shit just blows up. But it's probably not going to go that far. But one can dream, and it's like you said, it's better
Oh
to have
yeah,
30 to 40 cars running in two series as opposed to 10 to
5
20
series
cars running
and
across,
yeah, 5.
Yeah.
yeah, five
Exactly.
series each. So it'll be a good
Exactly.
change.
Which
It'll
I
be a good
mean,
change.
to be fair though, we've been talking about that for months, that discussion, and me and Corey were on the short end of the voting. I think in the admin team of what we wanted to do with races, so we went with the flow, and obviously it didn't work out. So
Yeah, and it happens, and we wrote it out, and obviously at the end of the day, having the change implemented now, and it's all on us to just stick to our guns and
yeah,
moving forward, and not forcing the truck series to become a thing until we are capping out that Xfinity League, and we have people going home every week. Like that's the only time it'll really make sense to implement that truck series. When we got 50 guys showing up and only 42 can qualify, you know.
yeah.
So, but yeah, that's a little preview of the Xfinity series. I guess we could go over the schedule, um,
Oh yeah.
real quick. Both series are running the same schedule, and I'll actually bring it up on stream here. If you give me one moment.
Just gonna ask you for
Um,
that. But I mean, we can start off. Obviously, we're gonna start at Daytona.
yes, we are gonna start it off at
Have
Daytona.
to.
There we go. All right, I got it up on the stream now. So we're starting off at Daytona. Um, It's going to be a long one, 135 laps. I mean, that's almost three-fourths of a Daytona 500. So it's going to be a long night on Wednesday night for everyone.
Yeah. Yes. It's what 330 miles.
337
300.
miles.
Yeah. 0.5.
Point 0.5. Yeah, it's going to be a long night. 60 will be the stage break for that one. And then we go to a little bit shorter of a night. We go to the Milwaukee Mile, running about 186 laps there. We're probably looking at around 26 to 28 on lap time. Not a real Cup Series track, but could be in the future. Put on a lot of good racing in the Truck Series, so I'm excited to see what 30 Cup cars is going to look like out on the mile out there. Obviously, that's a home track, one of the home tracks for you.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, Tyler was calling me.
of course, he was right in the middle of the
Nope.
podcast.
I'm making moves behind the scenes, gentlemen. Let's just say
Oh,
that.
okay,
Ooh.
Anyways,
interesting.
yeah, I'm excited for Milwaukee and Road America. Obviously, both. I will be leaving for the Xfinity race here on Thursday, so I will be gone until Saturday night. But very excited. Love Road America. Love the Milwaukee Mile. Only been to the Milwaukee Mile once, but obviously I'm going for the truck race here in August. But two great tracks, two completely different tracks, and
Speaking
it'd
of
be
another
exciting
completely
races.
different track, we go from the Milwaukee Mile to the Monster Mile over at
Oh yeah,
Dover. Much faster paced mile track, obviously. 270 laps there. That'll be interesting in terms of that was the best race we'd ever had in the Truck Series. The Cup Series cars have a lot more downforce there. It can be a lot harder to pass. So it might be a little more interesting, the battles going on, because if it was good in the trucks, why wouldn't it be good in the Cup Series? Then we move into our first mile and a half intermediate. That's gonna be Kansas. One of the better, or might I say, even best mile and a halfs on the real NASCAR circuit right now, Kansas. That and Charlotte are probably the top two in terms of just
Hmm.
overall races they put out. So, if I remember correctly, our Kansas race was quite boring.
Um,
Um,
no, it
no?
was a very exciting fuel mileage race.
Oh,
That
yes, that's right.
was fun.
Dominguez ended up winning that one on fuel mileage. That's
Hey,
right.
I got a fourth place there. I don't, Nick. Where'd you finish in that? I don't remember. You finished like
Got
fifth or
wrecked
sixth,
by
right?
Xander.
Oh, that's right.
Bringing back the sore
Let's see.
subjects
The other
already.
two were.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't actually mean to. It sounded like I was trying to be an asshole, but I wasn't trying to be. I was just generally asking. But yeah, that Kansas race was a good one. I think I got fourth there. I ran out of fuel
Okay,
coming out of
yeah.
four.
I think I got the pull there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you are a
Um,
really good mile and a half racer. There's a lot of
yeah,
intermediates on this. So,
yeah. Kansas is one of my best tracks, so I'm
yeah.
Charlotte's
excited for
the
that.
best,
And I,
probably.
yeah, so
And
should
then
be a
we
good
head
race.
straight from Kansas onto the Road America. First
What a
road course,
beautiful, what a
47
beautiful
laps.
arena.
It doesn't seem like a lot, but that's going to be like an hour
Oh
and a
yeah,
half.
it is. The track, if you guys don't know, the track is 4.048 miles long, 14 corners.
Yeah, it's
It
crazy
is
long.
anything you think but a chicane pretty much is on that track. Long mile straightaway, some tight 90s downhill braking, uphill braking, fast kinks. Um, Actually, there is a chicane in 13, but it's kind of like it's a blind uphill chicane, so it's very interesting. I guarantee a lot of people are going to go off there.
Yeah, and
I
there's a
was
huge
me and
runoff area too.
yeah, me and Saunders were doing some testing there today, and Saunders was having fun with it.
Oh yeah.
I'm still trying to get used to the next gen on a road course. Did too much of the Xfinity and road car stuff, so I'm used to the car actually being able to brake and turn and whatnot, which the next gen does not do.
Not at all.
Yeah. And then from Road America, we're heading to Pocono.
Oh boy,
Pocono, 95 laps there. That is,
that's gonna be a
again,
long race.
doesn't seem like it's a lot of laps, but golly, when
What
you
Cup did 100 and
160,
yeah.
so it'll seem long. And then we got to our first sponsored race. So I guess we have the second sponsored race because we do have to do it for Dale 337, which I
Yeah, that
didn't.
you didn't put it in,
Yeah,
and I had to put it
I
in.
I completely forgot about that. But
I got to do it for the Road America one too.
yeah, I gotta tell Caleb that we do actually have a sponsor for that race. The American 240 sponsored by Jeremy T-Bon. That'll be at Rockingham, 240 laps.
God, I hate that track.
I
That's
love
very.
Rockingham, dude.
It's a fun track. The All Star race was a ton of fun last season.
I didn't
Um,
have fun. I was
so
right around in 11th the whole
it
time.
it found its way onto the Cup Series schedule this year, similar to
Had to be rigged. North Wilkesboro.
similar to Wilkesboro there. From there, we head to Homestead, which was quite honestly probably one of the worst races in this league last season.
Oh yeah, I remember
Um,
Corey getting a little rowdy there.
there was a lot of issues that happened in that
Oh, I
race.
forgot about mine and Kenny's incident there
Oh,
too.
there was a lot of incidents. Connor
Oh yeah,
Wold, that was his first race in the series. Everybody absolutely wanted to kill him.
and now
It was a
everyone likes him. But
Yeah, now he's a fan favorite. So that'll be fun. Then we head to Martinsville. Martinsville, 300 laps of
oh
Martinsville. Now that's gonna be a
God.
grind.
Nick, do you remember last time we did Martinsville?
No. What happened?
It
Season
was
zero.
it was season 0.
19 cautions and 120 laps or something.
Yeah, I remember it being very slow.
You dive bomb Blake and
Oh
landed on
yeah.
Oh,
Blake.
that's
He
right.
went through
That's
the
right.
grass. The grass.
you Kenseth Blake.
Yeah, I basically did.
I mean, it's funny because Xander did the same thing to Blake at Gateway. Absolutely cleaned him out going into that really sharp
Oh, we
corner.
want to talk about his start though.
Oh, we can't talk
At
about
0.
Gateway. Then we head
I don't
from
know. Let's just
Martinsville
skip
to
that
the
part.
exact opposite kind of racing, go to super speedway, pseudo super speedway racing at Atlanta. The track's aging well in real life, but I'm guessing it's
Oh
still
yeah,
going to run like a super speedway on iRacing. I don't see them adjusting the grip levels anytime
yeah.
soon. So
Obviously,
Another
if you
one-time
guys
good
don't
track.
know, we had a little Discord mod meetup there. Me and Corey
yep,
watched the races
we
together
did.
down there.
It was a good
Fun day.
race. Fantastic racing.
Got to see the legend Jim Mott.
Yep.
He was a lot to control. We'll say that.
He's a handle. And then Atlanta to the big curveball on the schedule. We're going street course racing, but it's not at Chicago. We're going to sunny old Long Beach out in Los Angeles, California. It's gonna be
Yeah.
it's honestly I was running laps in the Cup car and in the Xfinity car, and it's a lot of fun. It's
Oh,
a
it's a
lot of fun.
blast.
It
Long
is.
Beach is a great track.
It is a fantastic track. It doesn't even really feel like a street course in some places because it's so wide. But the grip levels are minimal, just like Chicago. It doesn't feel quite as tight. Honestly, it feels more like a NASCAR road course. There's a couple of areas that are really tight, specifically, the roundabout into that, short right hand section there. But
The
after that,
fountain.
yeah, the fountain roundabout, yeah, and then the right handers there, and it really closes in there. And that really feels like a Chicago-esque road course. But then you get on those big long straights, and the long straight into the left hander, into another long straight into the right hander. It's wide. There's a lot of opportunity for passing. There's a lot of bumps in the track that'll throw some people for loops. So it'll be a lot of fun. We got a lot of technical, but a lot of long straightaways and a lot of hard braking zones where you can outbrake your opponents and make some passes, gain some time. Honestly, I would love to see the Cup Series and Xfinity Series race there in the future, as opposed to Chicago. Chicago is much tighter. I feel like there's not as much. The racing was good. Obviously, it was rain trotting, but Long Beach is going to be a good race in this series, and I wouldn't have put it on the schedule if I didn't think otherwise.
Corey, you know you're not screen sharing, right?
I'm on the software. I am.
I thought you were saying over Discord you're gonna screen
No,
share the schedule.
no,
Got
I
it.
can actually put that up for you guys though. Sorry.
Let's do that so we can follow along.
Yeah.
here.
Here you guys go. Sorry about that.
I've just been looking up my phone.
So yeah, and then after that we've got Texas, Nick's home
Nick,
track.
Yeah.
What are your
Yeah, I'm
thoughts on
excited
that?
for Texas. Me and Minky both are from there, so I'm hoping we could both output and maybe get like a 1-2 or something. But yeah, that's one of my good tracks as well. So I've got high hopes for Texas.
Then we're moving into another sort of intermediate slash short track esque feel of a track over at Nashville. Really good race there last season, so it makes it back on the schedule this season. Tire degradation was awful in that race, so I can only imagine what it's gonna be like in the long race here. So, but yeah, it's a fun track. It put on a great show. And then we move into a short track race at Richmond, which honestly is a short track that kind of can feel like an intermediate sometimes. It's kind of weird, switch those around.
Richmond's a toss up though. You don't know how
Yeah,
that race
there's
is
really
gonna
only
go.
like one or two lines that you can run at Richmond. It's very much short track, like position heavy, like track position heavy. So it'll be one of the more boring races in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of Richmond. It's coming up this week in the Cup Series, and I'm kind of like not super excited. But it'll be a good race. I think. I think it'll be okay. It'll put on some good racing. There'll be some wrecks. The Xfinity Series at Richmond was actually quite fun. But
it was.
Richmond has a tendency to get strung out and just be single file after a while. So we'll see.
The next track,
Michigan.
arguably the best race last season in the Cup Series.
Arguably the best race last season. Yeah, there's a lot of really good runs in the beginning of the race, and then obviously we have a trend last season in the Cup Series where the last 20 laps of every race, or even it would be the third stage really is when it started. So hopefully cutting out that second stage break will help dissuade people from doing that. But they became caution fest a lot of time. That's another Jeremy T-Bond sponsored race, Battle of the Irish Hills up in Michigan, 125 laps. Again, getting close to that 75% mark. There's some pretty long races up here. So
Can I sneak in here?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so with the length of racing, it's exciting that strategy is going to be like on the forefront here. Like it's not like, all right, we got two pits. We're waiting. Or stage, make it to stage with the fuel. We're pitting. we're going back out. It's like, no, we got to figure it out. And that's where I'm saying, like, the team aspect's going to come in huge, because you can't just be out there doing your own thing.
Most
I
of
mean,
these
you can,
stage
but it
breaks
won't
are
work out.
gonna. Most of these stages, you're gonna have a green flag pit stop. A
Exactly.
majority of the
Yeah.
intermediate and super speedway tracks, you're gonna have a pit stop in them.
And
And
with
that's what makes it fun.
yeah, and with the length of the second stage or the final stage, however you want to call it, a early caution or a caution at a weird time allows for different strategy. So I'm
Exactly.
interested to see how that plays out.
So
as
now,
well.
do you split up your boys? I guess I would have to ask Corey, right? Like, how many you guys got? What, 4 people?
Yeah.
So all of our associate teams together, we're gonna have 12 cars on the track.
Yeah.
Um,
So are you like
granted,
I
throwing a whole team early? I
I
mean, like you
mean,
feel
would
like
top them
I feel
up?
like it's going to be a lot more preparation in the practice sessions and test sessions before the races. People
Hmm.
going in there with telemetry software, figuring out, okay, this is what my fuel can get me. This is how many laps I can go on my tires without it feeling absolute garbage. Let's
Yeah.
figure out a sweet spot on where we're going to pit if there's a need for a green flag pit stop. And then you're going to take
Exactly.
a look at that and you're going to apply that to say it's like a 300 lap race at Martinsville. Well, no, that's not a good example, but say it's
That's
like
fine.
a 182 lap race at Texas, right?
Yeah.
That means you're going to have to put basically 50 laps down on one set of tires. Whereas
Right.
before, we were putting down 25 to 30 laps on a set of tires and then we were changing them, right?
Right.
yeah.
So we're going to be, it's going to be a lot of thinking. There's going to be opportunities where you're going to be able to split so for example, Rockingham will have 24 or 240, so that's going to be 170 laps without a stage caution. Are you gonna
Yeah.
triple? Are you gonna triple stint that? So you're gonna double pit? Or are you gonna single pit it?
Yeah.
like how are that? Like that's a tire heavy eating track. So there's gonna be
Exactly.
people in the testing. Just like real drivers go into the sim and do they run simulator runs. Well, we're gonna have guys that are out there testing, doing calculations, doing this mathematics and applying that to their teams and really at the end of the day it's going to come down to what team is prepared and can
Exactly.
execute on their game plan.
Now, hypothetically, uh, say Zach, hypothetically, not saying your team, but
Okay.
hypothetically, your team is, you just got your 4 guys, didn't put in too much work on that. Everybody's kind of like not following instructions, but you guys are, say, your 3-4 KI rating, really tearing up the front early, qualifying well. Do you think that team fares better than a team who's put a whole game plan together, but they're rocking 1.5K around, maybe their highest is a 2K guy? Do you think those guys fare better in the long run?
To be honest, I think I don't look at the team aspect, at least in NASCAR, as big as you do.
Hmm.
I think it's more individually. What do you think is best for you? Because some people are better, want a short pit soon, gain the track position, and try to hold off and whatnot. And some people want to hold off early. So for me and my team, I'm gonna let them go with their flow. Like if
Yeah.
you want to pit, go for it. Like you don't have to ask me for anything. Like
Right.
I'll if you want my input on something, I'll 100% I'll give it to you. I'll give it to anybody in the race. But I don't see the team aspect as big as some other people do. I just think what your strengths and weaknesses are.
That is true.
Suit yourself to it. Do what is best for you. So if you want to pit during a caution and you're one of 3 guys who go down a pit road, if that's the play you want to make, go for it. If you want to just stay out and be one of the only 3 cars out, go for it. Like
Yeah.
I mean, and also you gotta take into consideration gambling, some stuff. There's gonna
Yeah.
be a lot
Yeah.
of gambling and people testing out 2
Taking
tires,
2
4
tires.
tires,
Yep. Yep. That makes
fueling
And
up the tank
I
completely.
yeah, and I have a hybrid take on this because I like Cody's aspect, and very team based, very team oriented. I also like Zach's take where it's you got to play to your own strengths because at the end of the day, yeah, we have the owners standings with the car numbers and all that, but at the end of the day, it's going to be you fighting for the drivers' champion. That's
right.
still the number one championship on the board, just like it is in real NASCAR. I think that to what you were saying, Cody, 1500, 2000 I rating with a good solid plan that you guys execute properly is
Mhm.
going to fare well for the entire team. You'll find more top 10s, top 15s. Is it going to win you races?
Probably
If you
not.
Maybe
don't
not, but
have
will it get you in
speed,
the playoffs?
yeah, if you don't have top end speed, it's
Yeah.
not going to win you a race. But
Yeah.
in this point system, winning races doesn't matter anymore. So,
Yeah.
when you think about it, you want to be up there in the top 15, top 10, battling for those top 10 positions, getting some stage points,
Yeah.
um, and to put you in good position to set up for the chase. So that you might be that eighth seed, but you made the chase and you have a chance at the end of the season to fight for that championship. So I think
Exactly.
I think having a good mix of both is really going to bring um is going to be beneficial for everyone.
Yeah. Especially if you should hope that your team knows your strengths, you know. At that point, like, okay, he can pit early. He's not as close to the front. Pit him early. You know what I mean? See how that plays.
Yeah, I mean a big
Uh,
a big person like that is my dad. My dad
yeah.
just recently he's been in all of our other series he's just been hanging out for like a
Hmm.
majority of the race, staying out of the incidents and getting his car in a position and keeping his car clean enough that when the last 20 laps come around, he can work his way up through the field, put a little bit of speed behind his car, and he's getting good finishes. He finished
Yep.
fourth in the Sportsman Truck Series season. He's doing well in another league that he runs in. I think that he, could be a decent player come, the Xfinity Series, and he could be on the fringe of that playoff situation in the Cup Series. I mean, last season, if he didn't have his internet issues, he probably would have been the last seed in the Cup Series playoffs.
He's consistent though.
Yeah, if you and
Okay, to
y-
be fair though, if I had my computer and my setup, I would have beat Dan for the playoffs.
yeah, you did have a lot of issues going on too. So, again external factors that you can't control. Actually, my dad just called me this last or tonight and said that his wheel's all messed up, so I have to go over there tomorrow and fix it before the Xfinity race. So obviously, equipment is a factor, and making sure that your equipment stays consistent throughout the whole season, just like your car would stay consistent throughout the whole season.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors that play in. I mean, it's a 24 race season. It's a long season. It's almost as long as the NASCAR season. We're only what 12 races less than a real NASCAR season.
Yeah.
So between now and January, a lot can happen.
Yeah.
So
And
but
that's
yeah,
only because we don't have doubles.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so moving on, we got Chicagoland, which was another really good race last season as well. 182 laps out there at the land. That's a really good racetrack. Should be a lot of fun. Next gens drive really well on it.
Cody's home race.
Yeah, it is Cody's home race. Yeah.
Hometown hero. I didn't do bad in the trucks. Got turned though by our resident broadcaster though.
Yeah.
Mhm. But
Then we
hey,
got
what can you do?
and then we got Bristol. It's 375 laps of Bristol, which seems like a lot, but actually isn't too much. I
No,
mean, it's
it'll
creeping
go
again
pretty
on
quick.
that. That's actually over the 75% mark. I believe that's our longest race of the season besides Charlotte, um, which is coming up here in a few. Vegas is the cutoff race for the regular season, 182 laps. I think it's a perfect track to lead or to leave the regular season on. It's a very skill
It
based
is.
track, mile and a half. So there's a lot of good racing that can go down. A lot of people can kind of make their last chance pushes for the playoffs. There's going to be a lot of guys on that cut line. 30 plus full-time charters for the owner standings. I'm sure there'll be about 25, 26 full-time drivers. So, 11 guys are going to have to get pushed out, and there's going to be a lot of guys sitting right on, or actually 13 guys that get pushed out, 12, 13 guys get pushed out. So, only the top 12 make that chase at the end. Um, so there's going to be a lot of good storylines going to there. And then we start the chase, going to Wilkesboro.
Interesting couple of tracks.
Yeah, we're going to Wilkesboro, 300 laps. That's going to be a doozy. There's no grip,
Oh no.
and tires fall off, and it's going to be nuts. Um, it's going to be good racing. It was good racing in the real life. Um, I
Mm,
think the real life track has less grip than the iRacing track does, just because
because
they
they scanned
scanned
it
it
from
as if
yeah.
87. Yeah, so they put a little more grip in the track. Um, It'll still be fun though. It's a very difficult, challenging track. We ran it in the late model off season. The tires fall off fast. There's an uphill and a downhill section. So when you're on the straightaway, you're going downhill, and it can be really hard to stop your car and then when you're going uphill on the backstretch and going into stop, your car gets mad tight. So like the shifting and the weight transfer in the car gets very interesting. So that'll be a good little track to run. And then we go straight into our third and final super speedway race at Talladega, 128 laps. That's another doozy of a race.
Oh yeah,
That'll
a
be
lot of
just
single
about as
file.
long as the Daytona race. So it'll
Yeah, a
be
couple laps shy of it.
yeah, but the track's longer, so I think mileage evens out to just about the same. And then we go to our Coke 600 esque, and it's in the playoffs. The only race with two stages or two stage breaks. Obviously, we just subtract one stage in this series. So 300 laps at Charlotte. It'll definitely be our
God.
longest race. I believe that's 400 miles. 400 miles. Yeah,
Yeah, can't wait.
that's the length of a real. No, wait, no, that'd be 450 miles.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
450 miles. So that's our longest race of the season. It's going to be a lot of track changes throughout the course of the evening. It's going to be close to probably almost 3 hours. So that'll be an exciting race. Then we get an off week for the winter holidays, and we come back on the 3rd of January for the Glen. 70 laps there. That's only 20 laps shy of what they run in the Cup Series. So that'll be another really long road course. Then we go to the penultimate race at Darlington. I think a fantastic track to lead up to the finale. It's a very difficult, challenging track. Really put those playoff
Technical.
drivers on edge and put them through a little bit of a sweat. I mean, to be quite honest with you, the real Cup Series I think runs 264. No, they ran 287 laps at Darlington earlier this year. We're running 252 in this race, so I mean 30 laps shy of a 400-mile Darlington race. It'll be a long one as well. That's obviously going
Hmm.
to be modeled after the Southern 500. And then we go to the final
And
race at Auto Club. A perfect track, honestly. I loved the
yeah,
racing at Auto Club last season. It was the second race of the season. There was like 30 cars on the track. It was fantastic racing. Nick obviously had his
I was just gonna
sideways
say.
self spin, so I'm sure he's very excited to go there for the championship race. Um, and it'll be a great track to end the series on.
We also had the Asher incident there. I forgot about that.
Yeah, there was a lot. Ash and Waylon never came back after that. That's the last time
Nope.
we ever saw them.
Good.
So we're gonna
Good.
go from there into talking about the charters. We'll look specifically at the entry list for Daytona. Um, I have it up here now, but the guys in yellow, those are all of our rookies, and the green drivers are all of our returning drivers. So you can kind of just see how many rookies there are. There's going to be a big battle for rookie of the year this year. Um,
Hmm.
we'll start it off with our newest team at the top up there. That's going to be Aaron Rucker's team. They haven't announced their team name yet, but they did just release their driver lineup for Daytona. That's going to be Aaron Rucker, Joe Wright, and Brandon Daly. Those three will be running under whatever team name they come up with here in the next few hours and get it sent to me. So yeah, that was our most recent, and they are replacing TBD Motorsports. That was Evan's team, so that is replacing Evan Clapper,
Like,
Blake McClung, and Christian Delgado was going to be their third driver. And then we have a single car entry right now, which could be absorbed at some point here in the near future into a separate team, but there hasn't been any movement yet. That's going to be Kenny Reel. He's that last surviving member of that TBD racing team. And then we head over to Zach's new team. I'll let him talk a little bit about that.
yeah, so back to Blue Racing. It was originally DU Motorsports, but obviously Nick left at the Bristol race, so I took over. I kept it DU Motorsports up until he joined back this week. Obviously, I was a nice guy and I gave him the name back. But yeah, so I want to start off first with Project 91. I know Corey's really excited about this one. Archie Williams, the Australian road course ringer. Get to see what he can. I think he won a Talladega race in Cup last season,
No, he
right?
didn't. He wrecked Jeremy coming to the checkered flag.
But he still won.
No, Evan ended up winning.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Um,
Jeremy's
yeah.
not going to be
So
too happy about seeing Archie in the Cup Series. It's going to be a little
no,
rivalry shaken
they're
up.
gonna be teammates too, technically. So
Technically, yeah.
and then we have Zach Saunders. Obviously, he's in here. He's a hell of a driver in the truck in the Xfinity. So I have never seen him drive a next gen, so I'm excited to see what he has. And then we have Ivan filling in for Dominguez. Um, so I again, I haven't seen Ivan race. This is a suggestion that he put him in, see what he can do. I mean, if he does well and he wants to run full time, there definitely will be an opportunity there if Alex Dominguez does not return because we switched to Wednesdays. And then 14 is still a mystery. Right now, it's not confirmed, but there is talks with Tyler Krosek of driving that car. But we'll just have to see what happens. I know he's on vacation, so he won't be here for Daytona. But I'm trying to find someone to fill that in for Daytona for me.
Yep, and then going into the next one, we've got Indy Auto Sports. That's Ryan Taft. He's returning to the Cup Series after running race control for the previous 2 seasons. Well, I guess half of season 0, and then he did race control all of season 1. So he's excited to be back in a race car there for Indy Auto Sport. That is also a single car entry, driving the number 86. And then this is another big one. This is the other team that we basically lost a majority of the people on. And this is the old Agent Inc. Motorsports, Golden Egg Motorsports, whatever they were known as, owned by Anthony Campbell. He has since passed ownership onto Xander Short, and actually that entire team dissolved, and he's in the process of signing 2 new drivers. I think he's going to be looking at the Xfinity drivers tomorrow and picking and choosing guys from there. So those entries might not be confirmed until tomorrow. But Xander, obviously, runner up in the championship. Um, He's obviously probably now with Evan being gone the favorite for the Cup Series championship, so that's always going to be a solid team to keep your eye on. We'll let Cody take it over now for B2F Motorsports, previously Mike Bennett Racing.
Okay. Yeah, I think we had a good quality crew. Connor World came on. Or sorry, shoot. Cameron Romano. Sorry to mess it up. Flag that. But I guess I'm a new signee pretty much too. Had a few legacy members. Bob Baker, give up a seat. So we
Bob Baker
learned from.
actually retired all from oval racing
Are we
altogether.
retiring? Are we
Yeah,
retiring his number or what's going on?
I
I
believe
don't
we
know.
should.
We'll discuss
I
that,
think we
but
retire
I
his
think you
number.
should retire that number.
I'll have to talk to Cameron to see if he wants to run it, and if not, we'll make a decision
All right.
Yeah.
for the
Um,
season
I'm
here.
just glad to get in, to get with some of those, some of the guys who came up through season 0 and get to learn, and then got a very promising racer in Cameron Romano getting the seat. So, love to see Papa Mon out there making big moves and kind of keeping B2F, which
A
came
lot
from
of people consider
Mike
this
Burnett.
team the Rick Rare Racing of the series, but they have 2 to 3, maybe even 4 really consistent drivers that can sneak their way into the playoffs at any point in time with a nice consistent season. Cameron
Yeah,
Romano is obviously the wild card. He can be fast at times, but he also can get into wrecks just like Cody. Um,
yeah, man.
Jeremy T-Bon, he was a playoff driver last season. He made it to the round of 8. So he is obviously, a very consistent driver. My dad, like I said earlier, was on the cusp of the playoffs last season as well. So this is a team that's going to be keep your eye on this team moving up. It's going to be, like the McLarens. Nobody expected to see McLaren up there in all these races in F1, and then they're up there. So this is kind of where
Yeah,
B2F's at right
now
now.
look at them. I mean, I feel like I'm just gonna stay. I know my tracks, Dover. I know Auto Club's championship, but I mean, that's playing right in my hands. My super speedways, Kansas, Texas, those were tracks. I mean, I'm just gonna try to do what I have to do to be up front on the tracks that I know well, and then just be clean on the tracks where I may not be the best. So
Yeah.
that's my plan and going forward.
And then moving on to the other sister team here, we've got top tiers. So that's going to be Zach Johnson, obviously, our co host. And then we got Connor Wold, Jared Bundy, who's our other co host, not here this evening, and then myself. Um, I think I built a powerhouse of a roster this season. Absolutely swept the rug out under DU Motorsports at the end of last season and grabbed their 2 members, brought Connor Wold in. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with at the top of the Cup Series.
Can I pause you real quick?
Uh-huh.
I got breaking news right now coming from Woj. Tyler Krashek will be full time for back to Blue Racing.
Wow. Now that's a crazy move there, considering his rocky past within the Cup Series. That'll be interesting moving forward.
Yeah. So Caleb will be alone, or sorry, Cat. My apologies. Cat will be alone with himself in the booth, unless if he finds someone else to co-host with him.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to him about that. I think he was planning on doing it alone anyways, but that is a big move. Obviously, we'll have a part-time fill in that owner's car for the 14 for the first race. But after that, it will be filled by Tyler Krashek. That's a big move there. Right in the middle of the podcast, 10:30 p.m. on
Just
Monday
yeah,
night. Contract has been inked for Tyler
just got
Krashek
off the
in
phone
the
with
Cup
him.
Series. He's back.
Yeah, he's excited for the opportunity, so he's not going to take this one for granted this time. So we got two redemption arcs going this season, which should
I
be
must
interesting to watch
ask,
the
and
first
and
couple
you know,
races.
contracts are usually classified information, but is there a clause where you can get out of this contract if he's wrecking too many of your vehicles?
There is. There there is a cause. If it gets to a point where there's a DNF every week for I think it's five races in a row
Oh, you
of
might need to
his
make
of
that
his of
three.
his doing of his doing of his doing. Obviously, stuff happens and whatnot and net code.
You're gonna really have to reel him in. You know,
Oh yeah,
he burns his stuff off. So.
I know. So well, it'll be interesting the first couple of races. Obviously, he's missing Daytona, but he said he'll be back on Sunday, so he should be there for the second race of the season at Milwaukee.
Alrighty, so then moving forward here, G3M Motorsports, we got 3 returning drivers and then a rookie in David Gavazzi, Jeremy Sonston, Darby Marriott, and Gage Cognet. The other Sonston brother is going to be qualifying in as an open car, I believe, because he cannot commit to running full time for G3M. So they brought in David Gavazzi in that number 73 charter
Oh,
to run full time. So excited to see him. Um, Always like seeing these guys that hang around a lot in the Xfinity series finally get their shot at making a run in the Cup Series. We have a lot of rookies, especially with the massive shakeup that happened over the weekend. So a lot of guys getting opportunities to step into cars, whether it be for a part-time, fill-in ride or getting their first crack at a full-time. And really excited to see that. So then moving on to Tempest Gaming, that's Jacob Lachensky's team. He is running with Sean Hook, making his return to the show after being a Xfinity playoff driver last season. He's getting the call up to the Cup Series, which he should be a rookie. That was an accidental mistake there. And then we've
He's
got
pretty solid.
He's very solid, yeah. And then you've got Thomas for Lizzo. He's kind of another one of those road course ringers. He kind of runs it all, but more on the road course side, like Archie. So it'd be interesting to see how he runs at the road courses. Then we got John Darnell. Now, I don't know if this is a full time opportunity for John Darnell. I know he runs for Tempest in the Xfinity series, so I don't know if he's starting in that car and there's going to be, some moves made throughout the course of the season, or if he's going to be running in that car full time. Either way, really, again, happy to see Xfinity driver getting the shot there. And then I'll take it off to Nick to explain the last team on the list here.
Yeah, so we are coming back again as DU Motorsports. Last season it was me, Zach, and Jared. So we had a 3-car team last year, and then we're taking it down to a 2-car team now. I feel like it's gonna be a lot easier to work with just one other guy now.
wow.
No, no, not like that. I'm just saying, as far like the races are going to be a lot longer. It's going to be a lot more strategy, so working with just one other guy might help out just a little bit and ease the stress of everyone. So we're kind of going for like an RFK kind of feel. um I mean, we've
Just
got,
be there at the end. Hope you get
yeah,
something.
exactly,
Fair
we're going to
enough.
be there running up top and just hope we can get in the right position to get us a win. I mean, we've only got what 2 cup wins, so let's hope we can get those numbers up this year.
We
And
actually
yeah.
you got a lot of Ford teammates over there at G3M. G3M's a lot, or this is kind of looking a lot like Toyota is right now in the real Cup Series. You guys have 6 total cars. Toyota will have 7 total cars, and
Next
then
season.
everybody
Or
will
next season
have.
they get 2 more next season though.
Yeah, I guess, but at the current season, and then everybody else is running Chevy. Just looking at the actual charter standings here. Um, obviously I'm gonna change this up here. We gotta wipe these out because that was on the old schedule. So I'll
So
fix
no
that then.
Camrys.
No, we have
Tempest is a
Tempest
Toyota team.
and the new team,
Yeah, okay.
TBA Rucker's team is also running Toyotas. So there will be 7 Toyotas on the track, 6 Fords, and that leaves us with what
A
17
shit,
Chevys.
a shit ton of Chevys.
17 Chevys, just like real life. Yeah, 17. So a lot of different diversity, honestly.
Better numbers than the Xfinity series, though. In
Better
real
better numbers than
Xfinity
we
series.
initially had, considering everybody was running Chevy except for G3M and
G3M, yeah.
Tempest. So
No, Tempest originally was going to be Chevy too.
yeah, that's right. So we got some diversity on the track. We'll have a lot of different manufacturer alliances, so we'll kind of see how that goes.
I'm sure there will be past relationships where people will work together from Ford and Chevy and vice
Oh
versa
yeah,
and whatnot
absolutely.
too.
I mean,
So
obviously
be
it's a
interesting.
virtual. There's not actual manufacturer alliances. There's more like personal alliances and team alliances. So, you'll probably see Nick and Jared and Zach, link up at some point just with how strong they were last season on the super speedways, and you can integrate the
It,
other top tier partner teams in with B2F and Back the Blue, and you get out there and you got a lot of cars racing for a lot of spots, a lot of people linking up in different places. So
I will say it was a crime that DU Motorsports did not win a super speedway race last season.
yeah, considering you guys won, I think 2/3 of all stages at
Hmm
super speedway races last
Yeah,
season.
I think we only lost 1 or 2 stages because
I think Jared won 4 stages and didn't win any super
and then
speedway races.
I think Nick won a couple. Nick won a stage in Atlanta, I think,
And
Yes.
at Talladega.
and
Yes.
at Dega. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
was
you
always
guys
the
were
middle
absolutely
guy pushing.
smoking on the super speedways last season. So, there's a lot of strong super speedway racers out there, and a lot of these wild cards. Like I say, we don't know how people are going to be. I mean, Cody was up front at Daytona in that recruitment race last night in the Xfinity car all night. So, like I said, a lot of these guys wild cards. We're not going to really know how the season's going to play out until about maybe 4 or 5 weeks into the season. We'll have a general idea of what it's looking like.
Yeah,
Dude, those super speedway races are just hook up with a buddy. As long as you got a friend in me, and I know how to sit back and just take my responsibility out there.
Absolutely. And then we have a little bit of drama from the Real Cup series. We can cover that briefly here at the end of the show, and then we'll wrap things up. We're gonna go a little longer tonight. Obviously, this is our season 2 preview. We usually keep the shows to about an hour and 8 minutes right now. We'll talk about the Cup series a
damn.
little bit because there was a lot that happened. There was a lot that happened between Larson and Hamlin, and then
Yeah.
LaJoy and Priest, and then
I
Dylan
pretty-
and Reddick. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that
You mean
happened.
just Dylan?
I mean, yeah, he was kind of in the wrong for being pissed off, but
Yeah,
yeah,
You can't
I
all
know
be as good as PB.
Cody had some strong words to say on the Kyle Larson Denny Hamlin
just
situation.
sick of it, man. I'm just sick of the two-facedness. You know what I mean? Like, granted, Denny could have got on the interview after and owned up to it and just said, instead of being like, I don't know what happened. We were both racing hard. I didn't get into him. Like, okay, you got into him. Just say you got into him. That's why. All right, Corey, why do you like Rossi?
I'm a big Ross and Ty Gibbs fan because a lot of people
They
hated
charged
them
it.
at the beginning when I first started. I just like to be a menace to society, so I liked Ross at the beginning of last year when everybody was hating on him. Like the beginning of last season when everybody's like, screw that guy, he's wrecking Denny Hamlin, all this and that, he's too aggressive, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then he goes out and he has big balls to do what he did, to get into the playoffs and then to get into the championship four. I mean, and I see that a lot
Right.
in Ty Gibbs here too. But the reason I like Gibbs is, he had his issues last year where he was very he was very selfish in how he raced, and he's really progressed and matured. And this season, he hasn't had a single issue. He's been running very consistent. So, I kind of got two spectrums of why I like to be a menace to society, but I also like supporting an upcoming driver who's actually improving.
So that kind of goes with the situation. Like, how do I say? Like, these guys have a legacy to create, right? Like you're not just by being friends. I think I heard this somewhere. Like just by being friends with everybody and being nice to everybody, that's not going to help you accomplish your goals. So yeah, Ross is running hard because he wants to win a championship and he wants to complete his goals. You know what I mean? So Denny running him hard to get the win and get the record of most wins at Pocono. What like neither of them gave out in that corner. So some people are like, well, they were both racing hard in the corner. That's what happens. Like Larson should have known if he didn't get off the gas that might happen, right? And then like everybody thinks he's a sweet little angel. So it's like that you're not supposed to touch or anything. Well, we're racing, you know? That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So just it's a racing incident. Everybody get over it personally.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought the move was fine.
I did
Honestly,
too.
Same.
I
Same.
I I thought I think you see those kinds of racing incidents all the time, whether it be in something like our league, we've had that happen a lot between say Evan and Xander just racing hard, somebody gets into the wall. We had it at the
Or I,
championship race at Charlotte.
Nick and Xander would be a better
Nick and Xander, yeah, it happened
example.
too. Nick and Rodney, like it happened a
Oh,
lot in our league
I
all the
mean, that was
time.
Nick and Rodney was a little different, but close
Yeah,
enough.
but either way, I mean, but you see it all the time. And I mean, Denny's done it to Ross. Denny's done it to, he did it to Byron yesterday too. Now, the thing that a lot of people, and I was listening to the NASCAR XM radio yesterday, or yeah, today while I was driving to work, and driving home from work, and they were talking about it on the morning drive, and they said, the reason, it's not necessarily the move. Everybody does it. Larson did it to Bubba last year at
Yeah,
Vegas and got turned for it. It's obviously not the first time it's ever happened in the series.
at
Um,
all.
and
Not by a long shot.
it's just the fact of how Denny carries it and approaches himself. He doesn't admit to being like, yeah, I ran him hard into the wall. It is what it is. It's
Yeah.
racing. We're trying to win. He goes, well, I didn't touch him. I didn't do anything. Da, da, da. Like I think that's kind of where more people are coming from with it. It's like, okay, if you're gonna do it, just fess up to it. And it's
Yeah.
kind of the same idea of what they had with Ross too at the beginning of the season. Like, yeah, Ross is doing it, and it's like
He
either
kind of
own
fesses
it.
up though.
Yeah, kind of. Not
But I
he
mean,
does now, but in the beginning of the season,
the
it was
thing
kind of
with
like
Ross,
whatever.
Apologizing isn't
yeah,
fessing up to
that's
it.
what I was gonna say. The thing
Okay,
with
makes
Ross
sense.
was he
Yeah.
was gonna he was apologizing. That's just not how I am. I got to change how I drive, and then he does it the next week, and it's just the
I think I guess
I
with
don't know
Denny,
the
it's
right
more the
word for it.
ignorance.
Yes, and I think part of that too, with everyone kind of shitting on Denny, is because of his podcast now, where it's more personal with Denny with the fans now, because we know a little bit about him now, what goes on behind the scenes. He talks about what he sees in the race, so we expect the most from him because he's just going to say the same stuff on his podcast and whatnot. So I think it's kind of that's where I think the more the hate is coming from, and the aftermath with the fans of the move is because it's more personal with Denny now. But that's just how I view it.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the only guys that has a podcast besides LaJoy. And does Dylan still do his podcast? Or I don't
No,
know, but
Dylan's got his reality TV show.
yeah,
Oh.
that is, yeah. So I mean, it's weird. It's a weird situation because you get to see the behind the scenes with it. And I didn't listen to the Action Stretcher rental yet. I was planning on listening it tomorrow, while I was at work. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are just kind of blowing it out of proportion. Like it's racing, dude. Get over it.
Yeah.
I mean, past that, I mean, Priest and LaJoy fighting with each other over 28th place. It
I
is what
hate
it
Yeah,
is.
embarrassing.
I hate
Whatever.
Priest.
I would say.
He's
Did
he's
LaJoy
a
just
nut job.
overdrive the corner?
Priest is
I
just
guess,
frustrated
yeah.
with himself, I guess.
I didn't get
I
to
think
see it.
I think LaJoy like pushed him up the track or something. I want to say.
So-
I from what I saw, I think LaJoy got into the tunnel turn too hot and just dumped Priest. I think that's all that really happened.
So the thing with Priest is that I don't like. You guys remember the Truck Series clip? I think he was talking about Carson Hocevar, where some of us
Yeah.
out here making a living. Total BS. He was brought up. His parents, I think his dad owned a construction company. It's a long story how I know this stuff, but my dad and his company, the Wall Street Journal, has business opportunities to sponsor his rival in the modified series. So, anyway, so we got to know a little about Priest because they were always talking and whatnot. Priest, everything was handed to him. So he has the persona like he worked for it all, which to some point you do, but not everyone. Like Priest didn't have a grandfather who owned a team either, so. But still, he didn't. He doesn't do this for a living.
Do you
He's
think
got
that's more
money.
opportunities?
Yes, because of the money, he has more opportunities.
Yeah, but he still had to
Far-
work. He
Yeah,
still had
you
to
still
get
have to have
there.
the talent and work, but
Yeah,
the fact that he says
I
that,
see
well,
what you do.
the fact that he says that he had to
Yeah,
work
you
for
shouldn't say it.
everything and
Yeah,
everything like
no.
that when there's guys putting their mortgage up just to run late model stuff.
Right, exactly.
Like,
I'm yeah,
it's
I
far.
understand that. Then that
There's a
makes
big
sense.
difference in it.
There's a huge difference. Yeah.
He's not the Dylans, but he's the step below.
What about my thing with? I have one thing that I don't know if anybody's to is Bubba has been running really good like the last 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah,
like up in the front and
he
then
had
just
yeah
nowhere there at the end. But they're
he
still making points to stay in the playoffs.
he had a couple rough weeks. I remember with the All Star race, I think he had 4 top 5s in a row. 4 or 5 top 5s in a row, and then he just hit it like this. They just hit this dry spell right after
Yeah.
Reddick got out of his.
They're
They
saying
hit this
pit stops
dry
are
spell.
slow.
Yeah, I mean the pit stops. Bubba's the last 2-3 years with 2311. Bubba's had shit pit stops, but
Yeah.
I think he's rebounded good. He's back in the points battle for the playoff, the last
Yeah.
bubble
I think
spot.
he's
So
not safe, but he's up there. He's up
yeah,
there
I think
okay.
he's up there. Let's
Yeah.
look at the points. Well,
Cuz
anyways, Nick, let's talk a little bit about Joey Logano.
Yeah,
And
it's
the clip I sent you on TikTok, him being upset with the wrecking crew.
and he
That
has
was
every right to be
hilarious.
because I mean half the time these crews don't know where the hell they're going or what they're doing. I mean you see, it was one of the Xfinity races. I think it was either earlier this season or maybe last season. I think it was at Road America actually, where he hit the wall and he was like actually really hurt, and he was like on the ground on his knees or whatever.
I
And the
don't think that was
crew
Road
took
America because Road
okay,
America didn't have a caution.
okay, it was I don't remember what race it was, but the crew just took forever to get to him, and they weren't really helping him get up or nothing.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, I mean, he has every right to be mad. This is just one of those post-championship seasons. I mean, he's had plenty of opportunities to win. I mean, if that caution didn't come out at the 500, he would have won that. If he, held off
you
Larson a
mean
little bit longer,
The Daytona 500?
yeah.
No, Kyle would
so
have
you're
won.
blaming the toe guy.
For what?
No,
The,
he's talking about
No,
things
we're just
that's
talking
happened through the
about his
season.
season.
oh,
He
okay.
would
I
have won
thought
the
you meant
Daytona 500 if that caution didn't come out.
oh, okay.
I
No,
mean,
Kyle would have
he
won
could
that
have.
one.
He probably could have held off Larson a little bit longer at Richmond, but he was on older tires, so he finished second there. I mean, where's the other one he finished second at?
I don't think Logano had the right to be mad at somebody this weekend
Yeah,
because
he
his
did.
car was already toast when it was about to get
Well,
off the
They
track.
weren't doing
he
anything
had
to tow it.
he had 4 flat tires, and
Yeah.
they asked him if they wanted to push him. He
Right.
said, "I can't
Well,
drive it. I need to be
Dave Moody
towed."
was right next to his car, and he said that his right front was completely towed to the left. Like he said that
Was
no
it?
matter what, he wasn't going to be finishing that
Okay.
race. That's what
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moody
So
said. Moody was like sitting right above the car there. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot
yeah,
of different people saying a lot of different things.
I was watching the broadcast, so I wasn't listening to it. But let's transition back to the points here. McDowell was up 17 on the line. That's surprising.
I got it up on
After
the
he
screen
wrecked
as well.
Joey, yeah.
And
Yeah, you
Bubba's up
say that.
27. So
I don't think he wrecked Joey.
He
I,
did. He pushed him.
I, I
I'm gonna
don't.
listen to
When
Radioactive
Pushed
today.
him too hard.
when you're that, what were they like 4 or 5 wide back here or something like
yeah,
that?
and
Something
Yeah,
like that.
he was the
there's
second
nothing
car
you
on the
can do
top.
back there. It's when the guy in front of you, 3 cars or 4 cars in front of you, starts to check up for the corner. No one behind you is ready for that to happen. They got the push came from behind McDowell. That's
Yeah.
that's what started him putting him in the wall. I don't care what you say. That's what
Yeah.
happened. And it's also Joey's strategy's fault for putting him that far back.
That is true.
I mean,
I mean,
But still,
everyone
22
stage,
knows
points.
stage win though.
everyone knows that it's chaos on restarts in the back for Pocono. It's just that risk you take.
Well, he got the
It-
stage wins. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But
it ends your day. You ran one stage and then you went home. So I mean,
He still had like, well, I was looking at the broadcast. He still had like the fourth most stage points.
Yeah.
No, because not a lot of people who finish well in stage one finish well in stage two, and vice versa. So, I mean, he still got that 10 extra points, and he got that
Yeah.
playoff point, which the playoff point for him is really the only thing that matters. It'll be interesting if he makes the cut line by 1 point, and you'll look back on the Pocono race and say that was the great call.
He's gonna at least win one more time before the season's over.
Oh, no doubt.
Before
I
the
don't.
regular season or
mean,
before the?
Before the playoffs, I mean.
I
How
don't
many?
know.
What they got? What, like 6 or something? Right? How
Yeah,
many?
six,
Yeah.
5 or 6 races. 5 now. I think Pocono was the sixth to the last one, so just over a month.
I'd say he either gets really, really close to getting one, or he wins one.
Yeah. All right.
Is
So
this Martin's championship to lose, or is it Byron's championship to lose?
I think it's Byron's to lose.
Yeah, as much as I don't like Byron, I think he's the favorite.
I don't know. I think the 8 car finds a way to sneak in, at least to the round of 8. Not saying the championship 4, but I think he gets to the round 8 and gets close to the championship 4. But it's just the RCR. There's equipment.
He's got 10 points, 10 playoff points less than the 2 leaders. I mean, he's in third playoff points.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
but
the
I
eight
mean,
car,
the RCR equipment is just so inconsistent.
I don't.
They
I'm
have
gonna
their
be honest.
tracks that they're good at.
yeah. Reading
I
can
was
do it.
really hoping Dylan would start running good. That now that Bush is there, but I just
No, he's a
he
lost
he's
cause.
still his normal stuff where he has really good. He runs
30th
really,
in
really good for like 3
points.
weeks, and then he
It's
just turns to
embarrassing.
complete garbage.
30th. Harrison Burton's in front of him. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, like
Corey
it's
LaJoy is in front of him.
I mean,
yeah, but I mean, DeLaJoy had a
the Joy's
Sure.
pretty good first
26.
part of the season, so
But I'm still saying Corey LaJoy is in front of him.
yeah, it's like I mean,
When you have
Corey
your
LaJoy can
teammate
still make the
winning,
playoffs. I mean,
I know, but
Daytona.
I'm saying when you have cars, your teammate who's winning multiple races a year and getting multiple top 5, top 10s, and you're 30th in points, that's a problem.
Yeah.
If he was not no way related to Richard Childress, he would have been out of there.
it's it's the same thing for Ty. I don't know why he just won't go run Xfinity for someone.
And win a
who knows?
championship, probably. Yeah.
I mean,
That'll
like
make up
it's just mind blowing that you want to stay up there and run Cup and run 30th every week. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, he got what stage 2 points. I mean, you're gonna get that once in a blue moon.
Yeah. But they're good for nothing, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's
why.
like it didn't matter for anything. You're not running good every week to make it matter.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look down the rest of the playoffs for each of the other series. I mean, I really think Haley Deegan's going to make it into the truck championship.
Stop. She's got to make it into the playoffs first.
How far down is she?
Bad.
All the
19.
way.
That's what
19.
happens. You get taken out almost every week, or something stupid
She
happens.
only has 3 DNFs.
Well, you know what I mean by
Well, they
taking out
only
every
race
week,
like
where you
9.
get taken out and then you finish 30th.
I
Yeah.
mean, they only race like 9 races a year or so.
Yeah, it's just so
It's
hard.
15 races, 3 DNFs. It's,
Honestly, I won't be surprised if Taylor gets a win this year.
yeah.
Gray?
He surprises Taylor Gray. He surprises me a lot. I mean,
Yeah, he's very good.
he's had a couple chances to win. He hit, what was that IRP last year? He almost
Yeah,
won.
he did, yeah.
I love Ty Majeski.
Yeah,
yeah.
big
Well, he's from
big
Wisconsin.
time and Jessica fan.
Yeah, I watched him going late. I grew up watching him drive late models around my area, and I think he's very talented. And he's been unlucky a lot in how races end and whatnot because he was really good at Gateway, and the way cautions fell kind of just bent him over. So
Didn't he like crash or something in the gateway?
I know he won stage 1 and finished second in stage 2.
He was like I
And
can't
then
remember what.
something happened in stage 3. I
Yeah.
don't remember what it was.
Oh, it was him and I think it was either Zane Smith or someone else that was in a Ford. They went down into 3, and whoever was
Yeah,
on the bottom
that's
washed
right.
up and took them both.
That's right. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good season for NASCAR. Honestly, I think this season's very exciting. So I'm really excited
Yeah.
to see how the regular season finishes, and I'm really excited to watch the show take its wings for season 2 tomorrow. You guys can catch season 2 obviously at twitch.tv/the show racing. Green flags at 8:15. I'm sure the broadcast will go live probably 7:45, 8 o'clock, somewhere in there. Other than that, guys, I think we're gonna end it off here. We got a nice long podcast episode for you guys. I think we actually beat Action Instrumental this week, so that's a
that's always a good thing.
good chunk of listening for all you guys out there in the league, and then obviously about stuff on NASCAR. So yeah, thanks again, guys, for coming out here. Thank you to my hosts and guests. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here, supporting the
I
league.
know.
This is a fun little thing we get to do once a week, and season's back in session, which means we'll be doing it every week again. So, really excited to see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you.
All right,
All right,
guys.
thanks.
Everybody signing off. We'll see you this week for some racing.